Okay, so thank you so much, Sue, for that introduction. And thank you, Kate, for your presentation, which has given us a lot of food for thought. And really enjoyed listening to you and doing those exercises too. I'm sure they'll be so useful to midwives and student midwives and anyone that's working in maternity services. So thank you for that. I'm just going to start this presentation, and then I'm going to hand over to the wonderful Aaron and Colette, my fabulous colleagues, just shortly. But just before I do that, I just want to tell you that I'm delighted to be here this evening, really to explore how All for Maternity have worked closely with One Thought, and you're going to be hearing about that shortly. We've been working together to support the lives of midwives, the working and personal lives of midwives, and helping them to unlock their potential. And this session really is a follow-on from the one that happened on the 1st of March. So my daughter Anna, who you probably will all know, was here with Aaron and Colette delivering the first part of this session. So if you're listening to this as a recording, please go to the first one, because you'll get kind of a more of an overview of what the background to what we've been doing. But just to start my session, I want to just introduce myself in a way to tell you that I'm a midwife of more than 40 years. And this is a photograph of me in the 1970s. And I'm sharing it with you because over those years, from then till now, I've learned so much about coping in maternity, working as a midwife, about resilience and about well-being at home and at work. And midwives sometimes say to me, how can you still be doing this now? How are you still, managing? How did you stay in the NHS for so long? And it was because I had a lot of what I'm going to talk to you about now in my life. I also had some terrible traumas that happened to me. So I was sued. I had terrible bullying all the way through my career. Even when I was working as a head of midwifery, I was bullied terribly. So it wasn't plain sailing, but I also had the most fabulous opportunities. And I had people around me that nurtured me and guided me in a way that I'll never forget. So when I'm talking to you now, it's about how we can pass that on to everybody else, what I learned. So one of the things that really came to me early on in my career, but I've only just theorized it, was the principles of compassionate leadership. And that really is around, making sure that, first of all, we listen to ourselves and we listen to other people that we're working with or that we're serving. So listening with love and fascination. And when I mention love a lot in my talks and in the work that I do, because I think it's fundamental to the world, and it's fundamental to a safe and efficient maternity service, and it's fundamental to how we live our lives and how we move forward into the future in a positive way, and how we connect, which I'll come on to in a moment. And this term, listening with fascination, is coined by actually I can't recall her name, but is used by Michael West, who's a guru on compassionate care and leadership. And in Nancy Klein, it just came to me. Nancy Klein used this term originally, and it's about really listening, truly listening to the person that you're with. And I think it's a skill, and I think it's something that we always have to work on, and me too. But when we're talking about listening to our colleagues and listening to those that we're working with, that really is what we should be trying so hard to do. And that's when we'll really hear and be able to help them and make things better in the workplace. So professional and personal well-being actually matters so much. And you've heard from Kate talking about the strategies that she's passing on to us. And, these things are so crucial in order for us to feel well, both at work and at home. And love and connection, as I've just mentioned before, is just part of it. So if you think about when you're working on a shift, for example, if you know that the leader of the shift is someone who normally cares for you, who normally looks after your well-being and asks you questions about yourself at the start of the shift, and really, leans into you regularly during the time that you're working, then you're more likely to go to her or him if you've got a problem. You're more likely to go to them if you don't know something. And these relationships that we build up really help to build our resilience, because the more we give love and compassion, the more we receive, and it helps to sustain us. So, think about those moments you've had in practice when somebody's done something for you. They may be touched your arm, or or said, would you like a cup of tea? But just the smallest of things, the simplest of acts of kindness actually help us to move forward in our practice, and help us to feel happier at work, and to be able to give more, even if it's just a moment so say, for example, you're going into someone's room and you have eye contact with that person and you smile and you go to their level, then it's that thing that makes the difference. That is on top of the skills that are expected of us. It's the things that we do in connecting with others that makes the difference, and that helps people to recover better, and helps us too. It's like a two-way thing. It not only helps them, but it helps us too. And just one small tool that I'm going to share with you before I hand over to Aaron and Colette is something that I've learned in my latter career that I think is absolutely brilliant. And it's a very simple thing that we can do with each other and in clinical practice. It's, how we can help to sustain others as well as ourselves, how we can encourage each other. And that this is the mnemonic act. And it means appreciate, commend, and teach. So when you see something in practice, so it might be an act of compassion, a simple thing. It might be that you see someone turning the lights down in a delivery room, or it may be that you see someone walking down a corridor and they're helping someone else to find where they should go. Or it might be how someone answers the phone or responds to an email. So the smallest of things that you see that you feel are making a difference, and it has to be authentic and real. So it's not just saying to someone, oh, you're brilliant. It's about a specific thing that you notice. Then appreciate them. So tell them how you feel about that, how you notice that it made a difference. And then what you do is go and commend them to others. So go out to the nurse's station or the midwife station or wherever you are, and tell other people what you've just seen. So you make a big deal of it. This is really important, because how often as midwives and nurses or healthcare professionals do we only receive feedback when it's negative? So this is about really boosting someone's confidence and really appreciating and commending them, and then ask them to teach others how to do it. So ask them to pass on that skill. And sometimes that's just by observing, by helping them to observe. So that's something that I feel has really made a difference to when I've been working. It's really made a difference to what I've been doing. And I've seen it ripple out, other people have done it, and then others have done it as well because it's happened to them. So at All for Maternity, we really have been working hard on creating programs to develop and nurture midwives in clinical practice, and student midwives and obstetricians. And Anna and I have been, bringing together all our skills so she's got 20 years experience, I have 40 years plus, bringing them all together and using acting skills and all kinds of different ways to engage with midwives and obstetricians as students to help to sustain them in clinical practice. And one of the things that, just to bring you on now to Aaron and Colette, is that we engage with One Thought programme, which they wonderfully have created. And so I'm just going to hand over to Aaron to share some thoughts on this. So Aaron, if you'd like to take over from me, I'll move the slides along for you.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you so much. I want to make sure we leave time for questions, so I'll be kind of as succinct as I can. So I wanted to kind of give you an overview of what this is all about. So if I go back to what Kate was saying, basically, I want to live in a world where everybody understands their potential for well-being, because they know they can have any state of mind in any circumstance. And because it's not okay that people are suffering chronically when they don't have to, that relationships are strained when they don't need to, and that things are much more difficult and problematic than they need to be without that understanding. So I am going to talk to you about this and try to make this program available to as many people as possible. So next slide, I think. So what we've done with this program is it's designed to give people the understanding they need to discover their potential for any state of mind in any circumstance. And what's really nice about it is everybody already has the skills. They just don't have the visibility on the dynamics at play, so they don't get to use those skills consciously. In a way, we're all unconscious incompetence in the way we're using our mental skills, right? Because in the way we learn to use our body, we learn to use our mind. We kind of just figure it out as we go, and then we figure that's how it works, you know? So this course is designed to help people take a step back and really look at the pieces that need to be visible to open up that freedom of mind that we're all born with, but don't know that we're able to use. Slide.
There you go.
So essentially, it's about really kind of making the misunderstandings we have visible. Slide. Now, so actually, I'm going to refer back to the last one. The first thing that we really want people to consider is that, and this is something that's heavily camouflaged, we're experiencing our mind, not our circumstances. This is really pivotal for people to consider, because it always feels like we're experiencing our circumstances. And if that were true, we'd need to change our circumstances to have a different level of well-being. But actually, if you really start to look at it, which we have a chance to really explore, you can start to see that states of mind and feelings never match circumstances exactly. So there's this intermediary at the mind at play. And the more we see that, the more we start to appreciate, oh, I got a role in this. Next slide, please, Sheena. And then we want to give people a chance to really consider not what to do with your thought, but really the nature of thought, because there's a trick at play in thought, that it creates an experience that's very real, but it's actually a lot more optional. And I guess you might say the bark is much lighter than the bite. There's kind of a little bit of a sleight of hand at play there. And the more we get to explore and see that, the less victimized and overwhelmed we feel by our experiences that come through our thought. There's a whole possibility there. And the last one, this is the best one. Sheena, please. Understanding the nature of your mind. Despite the challenges we face in our life, despite the thoughts and feelings that we have, despite the conditioning, despite all of it, underneath that is just this incredible power and potential of the mind. How is it we get to tap that? How is it we get to benefit that? Because in my experience, when you put the challenges of our life up against the power of the mind, it's like, when you look at the challenges, they look big, but when you stack it against the potential of our mind, you're like, oh, I think we're good. And the more we get to explore this, again, the more we really feel like there's a power on our side that we can be more confident in. So that's kind of what we get to explore and discover during the program that makes the difference for more well-being and resilience in the face of the challenges we face. And then I was going to give Colette a little bit of time to wrap that up.
Would you like that, Colette? Would you like this slide?
The last one. Yeah, that one. So we've run this program. We've run this program for midwives already, and I'm going to read to you some of the things that they've said to us. And I think that even just listening to Aaron for a little bit there, you can see why people say things like it's more like having a conversation with a friend. it's a unique kind of course that actually, you get to watch and listen to, and then talk to us in real time in this kind of environment over the weeks, and then it goes on to All for Maternity, who do things more related actually to to your day-to-day job, whereas this is really much more about you and the way that you understanding the way your mind works. And so some of your fabulous colleagues took the time to write to us after the last course that we ran. And one of them said, I feel lucky to have the chance to participate in this course. I appreciate the commitment to well-being, which is really not a common phenomenon in our working lives. And then somebody else said, it made me think more deeply about my response and also the way I respond to others. I feel more empowered and self-caring of my needs. So I thought that was, that's a lot to get out of a course. And I'll be looking at this actually really, I thought encapsulated how powerful this was to this particular person. And this wasn't the only person that said this. A lot of people said this. I'll be looking how to purchase the One Thought course for my team once we're finished. So they were so keen to learn more and pass it on. That actually that was such a lovely endorsement, I thought, of what they'd been learning. And for me, when I learned about this, my life changed exponentially. And I really hope, as you can see on the screen, we've got an open enrollment program here. If you do that thing with your phone, and you can click into it. But if you need to know more, it'll be in the resources. I think that was the way everybody's saying it. And obviously, you just need to get in touch with us and we can help you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Colette. And yeah, just to add to that, thank you so much. And to add to that is to reiterate what Colette said, is that when you enroll on this course, you have the All for Maternity team, so that's Anna and myself and others, as well as the One Thought programme. So it's kind of a combination of everything.